3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading Welcome back to GrokTALK. Thanks again to Greg Moore for coming on to talk about the Hass and budget, or the groundbreaking beginning of whatever will become Hass and budget. Sorry, I'm turning everybody else's microphones on, and I'm turning mine off. So we're going to change gears, different kind of climate. We were talking about gun rights and so on and so forth, but this is a new segment that we wanted to start about climate and weather, and it's a great time to have it because we're on this pattern where we're getting storm after storm after storm, and we have a storm chaser with us who doesn't have to chase these storms because they're coming right to his front door. Ron Moore, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. Good to be with you guys.
Good, great. So let's talk about the weather. What the heck?
Well, this is called global warming, and that's what it does. It causes it to snow and get cold. You know, it's amazing, and I know you guys know all these quotes because you have some great guys come on the show like Dr. D and all the other JD and all them. But it wasn't many years ago when they were saying the snow would cease to exist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in 2000, they had all these quotes coming out from the University of East Anglia saying it'd be a rare event. Children would be sledding anymore. We moved up here about 11 years ago to New England, and I met so many people who told me a few years back we wouldn't see snow anymore. And I asked them what's going on now. Many of them are very environmentally conscious. I'll use that term.
That's not snow.
Yeah, and they say, well, we told you this would happen. I mean, this is personal relationships I had. 5 years ago, they said, we're never going to see it. They say, well, we kind of knew this would happen. I said, you can't change your forecast in the middle, you know. So, yeah, it's definitely... And as far as the chase things go, I may be here in town tonight. I may actually be in Portland or Plymouth. I may be in Plymouth, Mass, or in Portland, Maine, later this evening. So we may actually go after this guy.
So So let's talk about the pattern. I mean, people don't... I mean, you get the weather, you know, but they don't really talk a lot about what makes this chain of events occur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't part of it the Earth's orbit?
Yeah. You know, it's funny, though. There really are a lot of different things. Like, recently there was this thing about increased moisture. I don't know if you guys heard about that. It made the last storm so bad. We were talking about the moisture came in off the Cape. And the real reality is the only warm water that's really having an effect on the pattern would be in the North Pacific. And again, that's not my specialty per se, but that's pretty much common sense. That has an effect on it. But those things do that all the time. Your currents move back and forth. The Gulf Stream is permanent. It's been there forever. I mean, you know, the shipping routes, the whaling route, they knew about it. And this last storm in particular dropped 3 feet. And I believe you found that actually on Weather Belly. We're actually talking about this, that it dropped less than an inch of moisture in Boston. That's like the driest snow you can get. So it was not an increased moisture that made that storm stronger. It was the dynamics of the cold air coming in, which is going to make this one tonight and tomorrow really, really bad and dangerous, the cold air coming into it.
Now, this is high winds. It's a real blizzard. It's a lot like a hurricane, right?
It is. And that's the only reason. I mean, I went to bed at 1, got up at 5, you know, checking these models out and looking over everything, and just trying to get a good assessment. It's very hard to narrow down these bands. The guys who do this for a living are really doing a great job, really, in this instance, from the Weather Service all the way up to the private guys, because to pick out where the band's going to hit and who's going to be under it is really going to be tough. But you know 6 to 12, isolated 18 inches with winds, everybody, even here in the Merrimack Valley, the winds will be gusting probably to 40 and 50 by 9 a.m. tomorrow, and everybody knows that. That's what the Weather Service is putting out. That's bad. When you got this powder on top of that, probably 6 degrees. You know, I used to live in Northwest Texas, Amarillo. This is a Great Plains blizzard, is what it is.
Wonderful, just what
we
need.
And that's how snow comes to Texas, right? Straight down the middle.
Wow.
What's that?
That's how snow comes to Texas, straight down the middle.
That's right. Out of Canada, man, right down through the the cow gates in the North Country. There, they come straight through. But this is something that people are not used to. Again, you know, this type of dry snow on top of the mounds of snow that already exist. And you know, and I'll say this too, when it comes to the climate change battle and what's going on, we chase storms. We've chased many hurricanes. I've chased tornadoes, like I said the last time, since the early 80s growing up in West Texas. The last 3 years have been dead. Very few tornadoes, very few hurricanes. When the climate change became the term rather than global warming, first thing they said were ramped up, more intense storms. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing a more glamorization of storms. When one hits, obviously everybody in the world is there to see it make landfall like the Marines or something, but there's not more of them and they're not worse. If they were, I'd be out there doing it right now, so,
Whereabouts in West Texas?
All over, actually. Amarillo is a younger kid, and I graduated high school in Midland, the Bush Country. Yeah.
I'm a Dallas girl.
Are you? Yes.
And it's not Richardson, it's not Mesquite, it's not Garland, it's not Carrollton, it's Dallas, just so you know.
I know. Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. I lived there a while, too. I actually went to seminary there.
Did you really?
Yeah, some people call it cemetery, but yeah. I love Dallas, great city.
Well, and I went to school in Stillwater, sort of.
Yep.
Grew up around some tornadoes,
Yes, you did.
We chased it. We chased them, but we were mostly drunk on beer when we were doing it. And pizza.
So they look really cool, didn't they?
They looked really cool, man. Summer school was so much fun. You just wait for the weather to turn and say, somebody's got a truck, somebody gets a beer, somebody gets a pizza, and we go after them.
It's funny, when I grew up in Midland, we actually, I took my high school friends out sometimes, and we would pack out the ice chest and everything in the back and eat sandwiches and watch these things just blow up, what they call the dry line. Back then, no one knew what that was. Now today, that's kind of out there, too. But it was, it was fun days.
Those were great days.
Yeah, they really were. About this whole climate battle that's been going on with, I think I mentioned to one of you guys on Facebook that we just issued an ebook.
Oh, you did? Yes, you did.
Yes. It's called Storm Warriors. So they can go to Amazon, look up Storm Warriors, Saving a King, and it's for kids. It's written for kids, and what it does, we compare storms today, real chases we've been on, all the names are made up to protect the survivors, that's the way we put it. Anyhow, and they go back in time and chase the storms of the past, real stories, and then they chase similar storms today in similar cities, and they do a comparison. And it's really done in a fun way, we think. It's our first one, and we've already got one coming out for the 1821 hurricane. We're going to compare it to Superstorm Sandy. So this first one's already out there, and it's the 36 Tupelo tornado, Elvis Presley. Most people don't know he survived a twister as a 1-year-old.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, it gets a little bad weather every now and then.
They do, and that's what this story's about. And like I said, if your viewers want to go out there and check that out, they can do whatever.
We encourage that. We'll link to it when we put it up, so that they can have a look at that. That's a good deal. And so anyway, I think probably some of our listeners who are maybe more educated about climate and weather than the average person, but they'd still want to know, looking forward through February into March, and I haven't had a chance to go over to listen to Joe Bastardi to get updated on where we're headed in the next couple of weeks, but we have you on the program, so we'll ask you, what does it look like for the next 6-8 weeks of winter, or the rest of the season?
Is the groundhog not going to see his shadow because he'll be buried?
Yeah, I hear the Merrimack Police Department here in New Hampshire, they put out a warrant. Did you hear about that? They put out a warrant.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I know. So they're finding out the truth. No, they're all calling for it. And these long-term guys, like you said, Bastardi and the others are really, they do a decent job at that stuff. 6 to 8 weeks of tough time coming up. In the early April. In fact, most long-term guys that I keep up with and follow, because that tends to be more their specialty, they're all like February for sure. We got a half month left there, into March easily, and maybe into early April, which is good. We really, I know people don't want more snow, but you do not want a rapid thaw here. You certainly don't want rainstorms to come in with 50 and 60 degree weather, because that'd be bad, real bad. So we're looking at least hopefully a slow ease out of this thing, but you got at least 6 weeks to go. Yeah. In fact, just looking at the models this morning, about 15 minutes before you guys got hold of me. In fact, I was just here with my son Josh. I said, "Boy, we've got 5 more storms on the charts in the next 12 days." 5 of them, and they're all 1 foot plus.
Wow.
Now that's models. That's not obviously. Models are just a tool. But if what they're showing is any indication, we're looking at over 100 inches this season easy, because we're now here in Merrimack approaching the 80-inch mark.
Let me ask you a question,
Yeah.
and maybe I've just recently noticed it or what. Since when do snowstorms get a name, and who's in charge of that every year? How do they pick those names? Like, I don't know, Hester or something. Who's in charge of snowstorm names?
I would venture
Is that
to say
Al Roker?
You know what? It could be Al. It could be him and Stephanie Abrams that got together and coined that up. I have a feeling Jim Cantori got behind that too. No, just kidding.
be surprised.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that though, because that has stirred up a lot of, we'll call it excitement in the weather community. Some people kind of took it laughingly, and others got really upset about it. And it's an interesting idea. And believe it or not, you might not know this, there are a few other people out there trying to do the same thing. I thought that's really going to be interesting when everybody's got 4 different names for the same storm, and no one knows which way it's coming or going.
I call them all Senator Shaheen.
Yeah.
Blowhard.
Destructive.
That should be Hosmer.
Well, also because she's one of those ones who, back in 2008, when she was running for Senate, was talking about how we wouldn't have any snow, and the ski season and tourism in New Hampshire would be ruined, and the foliage would be ruined. We wouldn't have leaf peepers, and the maple syrup season would be ruined.
Yeah, and it turned out the ski season's being ruined not by the weather, but by the Obamacare that she was the 60th vote for, because the ski areas can't afford the health care for, season-round operations.
Or the power to run those lifts.
Isn't it amazing? I tell people, I say, folks who've been pushing this myth, this lie, whatever you want to call it, betrayal, the American public, the global warming, man-made global warming, and climate change, all their junk. I said, some of these people really, I guess you got to be easy with this, but some of these people should be brought into court. They really should. You can't just sling terms like that around, deface science, ruin the public, and hurt the people of the country, and be able to just walk away from it. You know what I mean?
Follow the money.
So what do you charge them with being? Democrats?
Well, good Lord, we charge people with all sorts of things today. It's like, I know we have an electoral process where people can be voted in and out, but it's sad. It's like you said, it's affecting a lot of companies and people. Somebody said the other day, Boston couldn't have prepared for this because they had no clue it was coming. Well, if you'd have gone, honestly, I'm not promoting them, but Weatherbell and other companies out there were some private groups doing a great job saying this was coming. They said this was coming this year. If you'd have followed them instead of your other sources, yes, you could have been ready for it.
Hell, even the Farmer's Almanac's more accurate than the climate change, folks.
Absolutely, because all you do is climate change. You just keep going 20 years out. Every time you get to your benchmark, and none of your forecasts came true. Again, I keep it real simple when I'm talking to people. I said, you said there'd be no snow and more hurricanes and tornadoes. We have tons of snow and no hurricanes and tornadoes. So your forecast would come, and they said, well, no, you can't.
But it's all caused by the same thing, so you can't criticize them. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Then there was another notion I heard, and this one I don't have the source for it, but that they had not included humidity or moisture in their models. That's one thing they had left out. That's why they missed
Wait a minute. Isn't it true that Roy Spencer and S. Fred Singer have been saying for years that it's the humidity cycle, the water vapor cycle, that is in fact the regulating factor, the negative feedback in the loop?
Absolutely. And not only that, that's one of the 3 core tenets of meteorology. If you don't put that in your formula, I don't know who was making all this stuff. Well, we do. They were making it up.
Yeah, well, all the stuff that comes out of the sky is moisture one way or the other, whether it's fog, rain, or snow.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it was a no-brainer. A 6th grader could have got it.
Yeah,
I'm with you. The things, again, being into science and things, that aspect bugs me to death, because you're not only lying to people, you've also got misscience going. This science is not true. You're not giving that, and the kids are being taught this stuff. And after that, it gets dangerous, because this storm will be a very dangerous storm. This week. And by the way, I know you guys are already aware, Tuesday and Wednesday, they've probably got another foot coming. We won't have more than 36 hours between the beginning and end.
Yeah, I heard that was coming, and we're coming to the end of our segment.
Yeah, so. I got to dig out my log pile twice just to make sure I got my emergency heat ready to roll.
There you go. Hey, can I give you one more floor to the Facebook, the storm warning on Facebook?
Real quick, you got about 10 seconds. Hurry up.
Everything there will update you. The storm warning on Facebook, and again, it's all
storm warning.
Meet the public.
All right, and the book is Storm Chasers.
Storm Warriors, Saving a King.
All right, well, Ron, thanks so much for being on the program. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather.
Thank you.
It's the only weather you got, right?
That's right. You got it, man. You nailed it. That's a good phrase. I like that.
Yeah, Joe Bastardi won't mind if I steal it. All right, we'll see you. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, Ron Moore, we'll be right back with Ed Nail to talk about interstate vote fraud. Stay tuned.
When asked whether she still supports Obamacare, Senator Jeanne Shaheen said,
"Yes, I do continue to support the law. We're beginning to see some positive results."
How can Senator Shaheen say we're seeing positive results when 22,000 of our neighbors have already lost their health insurance? What's worse, the Boston Globe reports the state's only health insurance provider radically reduced the number of hospitals in their network, forcing some people to drive over an hour for lab work. even when there's a hospital within a few miles of their home. When pressed about lack of access, Shaheen said,
there are some hospitals that are not covered, unfortunately, and I certainly hope that's going to change.
Jean Shaheen promised us we could keep our doctors and our healthcare coverage. Now she hopes we can get to a local hospital? Call Senator Shaheen at 603-647-7500. Tell her we need more than hope. We need leadership. Paid for by Citizens for a Strong New Hampshire.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested, riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is a repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning. You're listening to GrokTALK.
Grok TV.